Hello, and welcome to Hello Sister, a Vampire Diaries podcast with a magical twist.
We're your hosts, Christina Rosso-Schneider
and Brenna Dinon. Christina, how are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I've got this new little spicy hair clip.
Love.
Thanks to our friend KB. And you know what? I'm feeling kind of spicy today about this episode.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to talk about it. How are you?
I'm good. Just like soaking in the sweet summer months. We're now past the solstice, and we are, which we're going to talk a little bit about right now, we are firmly in Cancer season.
We sure are.
I know that last week was technically my birthday.
It sure was.
And it was. But this is, I feel like this is a good time to talk about Cancer.
Yeah. So since you are our Cancer queen for HSP, do you want to talk a little bit about Cancer season?
Yeah. So okay, let's see. Cancer, like the sign, our fourth sign in the zodiac. I'm a Cancer sun, I'm a Cancer moon. So, and I also have other Cancer placements as well. Cancers are usually our like our nurturers, are caring folks, very moon-coded, very intuitive with feelings, low-key psychic. I think sometimes people think that Cancers are like soft with their energy and like are like overly sensitive, and like that can be true, like that can feel that way, but I think that the one thing that I feel like most zodiac people get wrong, or at least like the social media version of Cancers get wrong, is that Cancers are like real tough bitches and like will cut you if you hurt not only them, but specifically someone they care about.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about how Cancers are often associated with the crab.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually makes a lot of sense because besides Brenna, we have several other friends who are Cancer suns, and you all are deeply emotional and intuitive people, but you sometimes have that, like you have that hard shell.
Yeah.
And whether that's to protect yourself or kind of the grit that you have to protect those around you, like that feels very crab coded to me. And I think is, you're not just sitting here and crying all of the time. Like you are a tough bitch, but you're a tough bitch with a big heart.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like that's really, and that's kind of what I love about Cancer. I feel like before I really got more into astrology, I always was like bothered by Cancer being like the crybaby, or like this, like over, like, oh, like I'm like the very like soft energy side of like Cancer, which does definitely exist, but or like overly kind of like, I think sometimes they can be portrayed as like overly romantic and like, oh, and like very like Disney princess coded, and I'm like, that's just like not what I feel. I feel like I'm more Disney villain coded, if anything, but it is that like, but I think there is just like that duality, and like just kind of how like I feel like Gemini, we talked about it before too, how just sometimes the like signs get bad raps, and but when you really peel away who they actually are, it like always makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I think another interesting connection to Cancer season so each tarot card, each major arcana card associates with a different zodiac sign. And so for Cancer, it's the Chariot.
Yeah.
And the Chariot is a card of strength and confidence and clear direction, right? Like not being afraid to take up space, not being afraid to use your voice. And I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it's not overly emotional, that card. It really is like, I feel secure in myself and where I'm going and the path that I'm on and the agency that I have in that. And that I feel like is something you work really hard to do.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I completely agree, and I definitely do. And I think the fact that I am a Cancer sun and moon really just like has me so big with the Cancer energy, because it's just kind of a lot of times just and I think this is kind of fun to think about, because moon is obviously like the moon is also, Cancer's planetary ruler, which is just in general, no matter whether you have a Cancer placement or not, like you all have moon signs, and like those that and whatever that sign is how you feel, right? Like that is like how the lens of which your feelings can be processed. And I just like, I love that. And I think that during this Cancer season, I would invite everyone to, maybe explore that about your big three, whether it's Cancer or not. Like, I think getting in touch with your feels and letting yourself be vulnerable to people that are like the safe people in your life is like an important thing. It connects us more deeply with each other. And, I don't know, I always just feel the closest with like my people when I'm being open and getting to share my feelings and also hear, my friends share feelings with me or family share feelings with me, which is a very Cancer thing to say. So, yeah, just get in touch with your feelings this Cancer season. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that.
Anything else? Or we can just move right along from there.
So let's talk about, as usual, some ways to support us. So sharing the podcast with your friends, family, coworkers, book clubs, etc. Leaving a review for us, subscribing on YouTube, following us on Instagram and Threads. That's at Hello Sister Podcast. You can support my bookstore, A Novel Idea on Passyunk. Give us a follow on Instagram. It's The Novel Idea Philly. You can follow Brenna and me on Instagram and Threads.
Yeah.
And you can book us for tarot readings. You can buy my books. There's lots of ways that you can support us. And then also that you can always email us at hellosisterpodcast1864@gmail.com.
Yep. There we go. We nailed it. We crushed it at the top. And I think it's time to get into episode 18.
Yes, let's. All right, let's move into episode 18 of the Vampire Diaries. This episode is called Under Control. It was directed by David Von Enken and written by Barbie Kligman, Andrew Chablis, and Brian Young. And it aired on words are hard today. It aired on April 8th, 2010.
David is new.
David is new.
I like his name.
We know all of the other players.
Yeah.
He's
Von
new.
Aknen.
Yes.
That's a cool name.
It's very fun. All right. So as always, we love to share the IMDb synopsis. And I just have to make this one quick note that and maybe I said this to you off camera, but I've been watching the original franchise of The Real Housewives, so Orange County, from the beginning. And in the season I'm currently in, they're talking a lot about Heather Dubrow's career in Hollywood, and none of the housewives can accurately say IMDb, and it is hysterical. So I just think of that every time I'm like, IMDb synopsis, because I can say it, and so can Brenna. So yay us.
Go us.
All right, so here's this episode synopsis. Stefan displays a rare party attitude, and Damon's attempt to find out why Elena's uncle, John Gilbert, David Anders, alias 24, has returned to town an ugly turn.
What does that even mean? I never know.
I don't know, but I mean, Stefan does display a rare party attitude.
That is true.
And Damon's definitely trying to sniff out Uncle John.
Can't wait. Can't wait. This is a juicy. John's the juiciest part of this episode,
sure
but
is.
we'll definitely get into our episode now and we'll talk all about it.
Yes.
So, all right, opening scene. Could you turn it up a little bit? It's not annoying yet. We are at the Salvatore boarding house. Stefan is working out in his bedroom. Damon enters with a glass of blood in his hands. After commenting on how loud the music is, he turns it off and asks when Stefan is going back to school. And Stefan says, soon. Damon tells him to just drink already, adding that the self-detox isn't natural, and drinking in meaning to drink some blood. He puts the glass of blood that he was having next to Stefan, who asks him to get that away from him. And Damon asks how long it took Stefan the last time he indulged in human blood. And Stefan says it tells him that it takes time, but he'll be fine. And then Damon says, I don't get it. You don't have to kill to survive. That's what blood banks are for. I haven't hunted a human in, God, way too long. Stefan, being sarcastic, says he's impressed with Damon's ability to not feed on a human. Damon tells him not hunting humans is self-serving. Or not hunting humans is self-serving. He's trying to get the town off the trail of vampires, which he adds isn't easy to do with an entire tomb of vamps running around. Stefan takes a break from his workout to ask what we're going to do about that, and Damon claps back, "We're not going to do much of anything if you don't have your strength." And he tells them there's nothing wrong with a healthy diet of human blood from a blood bank and that it's not actually killing anyone, but Stefan insists he has his reasons. Damon tells Stefan he'd love to hear them because they've never actually discussed it. Stefan knows he's mocking him, and Damon asks if he's enjoying Damon if he enjoys seeing him struggle, Stefan, to which Damon says, very much so. Stefan insists he has it totally under control. Damon then leaves, telling his brother to have a good day. His glass of blood left on the table. Stefan stares at the glass. Damon runs back in and saying, oops, forgot his glass, taunting Stefan. He drinks from the glass, commenting how good it is. Cue title credits. Juicy little opening here.
Yeah, so there's no app count here.
No.
But I am truly mesmerized by Stefan's arms and just his workout routine.
Chiseled.
When he is doing the push-ups with his feet up on the chair, I'm like...
Yeah, his arms look
Someone
real nice.
pull me off. Like, ooh. And then my other thought is that I know that these brothers, before the show started, right, hadn't seen each other for a long time, but they never discussed why Stefan doesn't drink human blood. That seems unlikely / confusing.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Because, like, you would think they would know, he would know that. Like, they would be talking about that. I don't know.
Yeah, and it also just, Damon's behavior throughout this scene and the rest of the episode seems like he knows why Stefan doesn't drink human blood, what the struggle is for him, and yet there's that line, which is kind of confusing, which could just be a device by the writers to be like, we're not telling you yet. And it's like, well, we can kind of guess.
Yeah, we can kind of
guess. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, and I mean... I'll just say, I mean, men don't always talk about things. So maybe it isn't. Maybe it is just like they just don't talk about it. It's never been brought up. Like he knows that fact about his brother and they don't really talk about it and he just taunts him about it over time. Could be because Damon, master taunter. But I don't know. It is kind of like weird though.
Yeah, it's a weird line. Just Damon, you are such a dick.
Yeah, that's leaving that blood there and going, ooh, and then like sipping it. I'm like, bro, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah. All right, next scene. Unexpected visitor. We are at the Gilbert residence. Elena calls to Jeremy as she's walking out the front door. Jenna chases after her to give her the thermos that she forgot. As Elena opens the door, she and Jenna stop in their tracks when they see a man in the doorway. It's Elena's Uncle John. Jenna, clearly not a big fan of Uncle John, says, "You made it." He replies that he said he'd be in by noon and enters the house. Jenna shoots back, "Oh, what you say and what you do are typically two very different things." Jeremy comes down the stairs, surprised to see his uncle. He says, "What's up?" pats his uncle on the shoulder and walks out. Hysterical. John shares with Elena and Jenna that he had some business in town, so he thought a visit was in order. Elena asks how long he's staying, and he replies that he doesn't know yet. Elena says she's got to go to school and exchanges a look with Jenna. Once Jenna has closed the door, John asks what's up with Jeremy. She tells him a friend of his, meaning Vicky, has died, and tells him to try to be sensitive, which he says, "I always am." Full of tude, lots of tude in this family. Jenna asks how long he's staying, and he asks her, "Can you at least pretend that you're happy to see me?" So Jenna, in response, puts on this chipper voice and greets him again, pretending she's happy to see him, before saying no. She can't pretend it.
It's pretty great.
It is. He asks her if she thought he was really going to just sign the escrow papers and send them back. She says yes. He tells her he's not going to let her sell his brother's office, which we know she's trying to sell to Pearl. Jenna says it's not up to them. It belongs to Jeremy and Elena, and John refutes this by saying they're minors, and as the estate's trustee, he gets final say.
Well,
no one seems happy to see Uncle John.
No, sure not. It's like pretty hilarious how no one wants him here. Like, it's just every single one of them. Like, it's just like, oh, this guy. Like, that's the energy that he's bringing. And to be fair, he kind of has like a shithead energy coming in too.
He definitely has that guy energy, and it's part of, like, for me, what I think is his charm, right? You're like, oh, you're a dick, but I kind of dig it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, okay, we got to talk about this apothecary belonging thing. Like, what do we think about this?
Yeah. So the office, just for folks, if you need a refresher, was Dr. Grayson Gilbert's medical practice. And so in a previous episode, we saw Jenna meet Pearl, and she's planning to sell it to Pearl, who is going to reopen her apothecary, right? This was something that she owned in 1864, and the Gilberts took it from her, right? She's trying to take back the town and restart her life. But it doesn't seem like Jeremy or Elena are involved in this.
No.
And we know Elena would have thoughts about it, given who she's trying to sell it to.
Yeah. And also, I feel like, I mean, she's not that young. Like, she's what, 17 right now?
Mm-hmm.
So she's like not that far away from becoming like a full, like being the person that is the trustee, right? Like, like, because she would, or like being able to dictate things legally, because I think it's just when someone reaches, adulthood, 18, like, so she would, so it's a little weird. That was like kind of weird to me. That, I mean, I understand maybe they are trying to do it before she turns 18, but it's like, hey, you guys should probably like maybe not even touch this until she's at least 18.
Also, her parents haven't been dead for that long, right?
Yeah.
We're somewhere in the winter of 2010.
Yeah.
They died in the spring of 2009.
Yeah.
So it hasn't even been a year.
No.
So to me, that feels a little rash. And it doesn't seem, considering neither of the kids have a job and Jenna doesn't even seem to go to school, it doesn't seem that they're hurting for money so that they need to sell it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I guess in a way it makes sense why John is making a house call, because he's like kind of anti him selling it.
I would.
Yeah, I actually like don't fault him for that.
I would roll up on my sister or brother's house and be like,
we're not doing this.
Let's sit down and have a chat.
Yeah, and that's so true. Yeah, so that was just like, but I wonder if that was just, a way to get, well, because we know about Pearl too, and it's like woven in, but I wonder if it's just like a way to get John into the story, right? Like that's his reasoning for coming back onto the scene.
Yeah.
Or so we think. Dun, dun. I don't know. We'll have to see. He's just shifty, but we'll talk about that later. Shall we move on to our next scene? All right. So our next scene, Locker Lasagna and the Curious Case of Vicki Donovan. We are at Mystic Falls High School. Have we been in high school recently? I feel like we were only there for like a second. The other
we were
episode.
in like the hallway.
Yeah. And we're also back in the hallway.
Yeah,
again.
double date. It was just hallway.
Yeah, I think it was just hallway, and we were also just in the hallway.
We will see part of Ric's classroom later.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But not during class.
Never. It's always in a different way for him. Okay. Talking to Matt by the lockers, Elena tells him about Uncle John's open-ended trip. Matt says he never really liked the guy, also adding to the list of people that don't like Uncle John. Elena scoffs, asking if anyone does, and Matt tells her he's here if she needs any moral support. She thanks him, but says she'll suffer through this one alone because he's been through enough. Matt thanks her for everything she did at Vicky's funeral and memorial, and that he couldn't have done it without her. She says, of course, and they share a look before Elena changes the subject, asking if Caroline is still baking for him around the clock. He says she finally went to her dad's, which is a good thing because his mom was going to strangle her if she brought over one more lasagna. Matt closes his locker and they walk off together. Outside, Jeremy sits by himself in the stoner spot. Tyler sits down next to him with a joint. He offers it to Jeremy, who says he doesn't want any, and they're quiet for a minute before Tyler brings up that the police are saying Vicky OD'd. Jeremy says that's what he doesn't get. Vicky was doing okay. And then Tyler says, apparently not. Jeremy asks how she ended up buried in the woods, and Tyler says probably whoever was with her when she OD'd did it. And Jeremy sees a flaw in the logic, saying they probably wouldn't have taken the time to bury her. Tyler says maybe she saw something and trails off, saying he doesn't know. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. You've got a couple thoughts here.
Okay. Why are we shitting on Caroline for literally being kind and caring? I hate you, Matt. I hate you. It is so... I'm going to keep crashing out about this. We'll save it for a future scene. I also... Just a reminder for anyone that's been along on the ride with us, I was a big hater, and I think you were too. I mean, by the end, I think we all hated the...
Yeah, I was over it.
the triangle of Tyler and Jeremy and Vicky. But I am living for these two, like, kind of hanging together and, like, taking solace in their shared, love for Vicky.
Mm-hmm.
They've come a long way. And I think Tyler's crushing on Matt harder than Jeremy is crushing on him at this point. Feels correct.
Tyler's crushing on Matt, or Tyler's
Matt,
crushing on Jeremy?
I keep calling him Matt. Oh my God. No, sorry. Tyler's crushing on Jeremy more than Jeremy's crushing on him.
Yeah. He's trying to give him his joint.
Yeah, like, but even in
he's
the other...
He's not giving him shit.
But remember, Tyler in the, which episode was it? When they were in the woods, like, he's the one that approaches Jeremy and is like, hey, like, trying to, like, get him going in the party, and then, like, Jeremy kind of waves him off, and then, then Tyler's rude, but, like, he's just trying to connect.
He's just trying to connect, and honestly, it makes sense based off of what we see later.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next scene. Welcome Jackass back to town. We're at Founders Hall. A new location.
A new location indeed.
Didn't know it existed.
It might also just be the Lockwood Mansion in interior. It doesn't look that different, but
they don't have a big Founders Hall sign out front of their house.
No, but I just the exterior could be different, but it feels like the interior doesn't
filming it in the same place.
Because it's kind of like it kind of has a samey vibe, didn't it? I don't know.
Does.
That was just me.
How much money does this town have, and yet they are doing fundraisers all the time?
They love a celebration. We'll talk about it more later.
We will. So Damon walks up to a large mountain, a large mansion.
A large mountain.
A police deputy waits outside and shows him in. As they walk in, we see a sign that says Mystic Falls Founders Hall. Inside, Sheriff Forbes tells the Founders Council the coroner's office has officially ruled Vicky's death a drug overdose, and her family's been notified. She says the truth will stay in this room, and we can put this behind us. Mayor Lockwood thanks her and says there's a more pressing issue. She goes to stand with Damon. The mayor introduces John Gilbert, who has asked to say a few words. John addresses the group, saying he wishes he were there under better circumstances, and as a founding family member, he feels it's his duty to report some distressing news. Damon asks the sheriff who he is, and she tells him Elena's uncle. She then adds, his name is John, but I call him Jackass.
Another hater of John.
John tells the group that a hospital blood bank in a neighboring county has reported several break-ins over the past 2 weeks. 7 hunters, 4 campers, and 2 state employees have been reported missing, and all of this within a 75-mile radius of Mystic Falls. The mayor interrupts him, trying to keep the group calm. The sheriff tells Damon Mayor Lockwood doesn't want to cancel the Founders Day kickoff party. John Gilbert jumps back in, saying they think all of their problems are over, but nothing's been solved.
So my thought here is so do we think that this is John reporting on the Tomb Vampire casual? These are
I think so.
That's kind of what I was understanding it to be.
Well, Damon says he hasn't hunted a human in a long time, and we know from the last episode that Pearl is sending Anna
to blood banks. Yeah, so it's I'm guessing that anytime those other vampires, or even the ones that maybe never even ended up at Pearl's, maybe are just fanning out because there are the casual, the missing people, but then the blood bank, missing blood from the blood bank.
Plus, we know Pearl wasn't running the tightest ship.
No,
and so there are people getting out, and Frederick made the comment that it's hard to find something to eat around the parts of Mystic Falls. So maybe going outside of the town where it's less likely that people have access to vervain.
Yeah, or like know to ingest it to like ward off vampires.
Yeah.
Just some interesting stuff. So really, Uncle John out here making a little bit of a splash.
I know. I'm here for it.
All right, next scene. Fang or fiction? The truth about knowing about vampires in Mystic Falls. We're back at Mystic Falls High. In Ric's classroom, he shows Elena the paper that Jeremy wrote on vampires. Alaric tells Elena that Jeremy made it clear he doesn't believe in vampires. She says she hopes he's right because she's done a lot to protect him from all of this. He asks how she deals with it, the lying and the lying exclusively to everyone that's important to you, and she says it's not safe for them to know the truth. She adds that she keeps it from them, but only because she loves them. Ric says he thinks Stefan is a good guy, but at the end of the day, he is still a vampire. Elena tells him she knows it's hard to understand, but Stefan's different and he would never hurt her. Okay. So I should I say this here? Or should I save it for later? Okay. I'm going to call out Elena being a hypocrite. She was riding Stefan for not telling her anything, just about him in the beginning of our season. And she's been keeping all her close friends and family out of the loop, which I actually think is more dangerous than keeping them in the loop. We've saw Caroline being a perfect example of this, especially with Damon. It's just, Anna's kind of been floating around Jeremy, and I know, while she's not necessarily, a threat to him at this point, but she was a threat to him before. Ben was a threat. There's just too many players at this point that, why are we not telling them and also letting them know that the, gifts that Elena gave them are vervain until, because we talked about that before in a previous episode about, well, how does she communicate to them to never take it off? Right. She's just going to assume that because, just because someone bought me or gave me a piece of jewelry doesn't mean that I'm going to wear it all the time. Right. So, I don't know. I just feel like they'd be safer if they knew. Yeah. And also, Ric sure isn't buying Stefan's thoughts. No. or Elena's thoughts on Stefan. Ric is, over it. But honestly, someone needs to be, I mean, even though I understand, Elena does feel that way about Stefan, and Stefan is, arguably, a good guy, but, I can see from Ric's perspective, and I kind of appreciate it being well, at the end of the day, he is still a vampire, so important.
Yes. Which actually, he's not the only one trying to convince her of that this episode. So. Yeah. All right, next scene, the sacred Gilbert family legacy. We are at the Gilbert residence. John, Jeremy, and Jenna are having dinner. Jeremy says he has no interest in the Founders Day kickoff party. John tells him it's tradition, to which Jenna makes a snide comment about breaking tradition. Uncle John tells them the Gilberts have been a part of this town for 150 years as one of the founding families. He says this comes with certain obligations like going to the party. He then tells Jeremy that one day, when he can appreciate it, he'll tell him all about his heritage. Jenna says she forgot how sacred the Gilbert family legacy was because she's not a Gilbert, so she was never cool enough to hear it.
Salty.
Jeremy leans in closer to his uncle and asks why Jenna hates him. He says that they used to sleep together. And Jenna's like, I'm right here. And she throws a bag at John.
Jenna, this is Uncle John's giving some Scumfell vibes, a little bit, just a little bit, you know what I mean? But in a more esteemed way. I don't know if how you feel about that. I mean, it's just they just are these shit-eating grin guys.
Oh yes, absolutely. I like Uncle John better. Yeah. You had asked me, I don't remember if it was in our spoiler sode last week or off camera, who I thought had a more punchable face. And I still think it's Logan. Yeah. But I also love the actor who plays Uncle John, most notably for iZombie. And he often plays this kind of character, and he's just so good at it. But I always find something I like about the character. Yeah. So
he's got a little bit more swagger.
But honestly, it says more about Jenna that these are the kind of people that she's dated and or slept with than them, right? Because there's a pattern here.
There is a pattern, and that's why we need her and Ric to get together.
Yeah, but
we're still not sure.
he's got to process his
He's got baggage.
dead wife who's a vampire and was a teen mom.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there.
To his high school student. It's messy. Okay. On to our next scene. If Stefan says he's going to be okay enough, maybe it'll actually happen. Gilbert residence. Upstairs, Elena tells Stefan about Jeremy's history paper. She asks if Jeremy is starting to remember, but Stefan says Damon took those memories away for good. Stefan asks why she doesn't just ask Jeremy about it, and she says she can't. Stefan asks why not, and pointing out that if he doesn't know anything, then it's just an innocent question. She tells Stefan she doesn't know how to talk to her brother anymore and that she hasn't told him that she's adopted yet. Pretty big thing to like not tell your brother.
I straight up don't think they talk.
Like they don't. Like I'm like, how? It's so crazy. Stefan tells her maybe it's time to start opening up to Jeremy again. That's good advice, Stefan. Stefan going through it, but still also somehow giving giving sage advice along the way. She rubs his shoulder and asks how he's doing, and he tells her that he's doing better. He's still jittery and on edge, but he's going to be okay. She shares that she's been really worried about him and that she's missed him. He tells her he's just needed a few days to lay low for a while to let his body readjust. He adds that it's really only been a few days, so, it's still new. And she tells him it feels like a lifetime and kisses him. He tells her he missed her too. They kiss again, getting steamy, and Stefan lays Elena down on the bed. Stefan starts to get more aggressive as he gets more turned on. He stops kissing her and pulls away with his vamp face starting to come out. And Elena gasps while Stefan throws himself backwards against the bedroom wall, breaking a lamp. He sits on the floor by her dresser trying to control himself, or trying to get control of himself. Elena looks at him with concern.
He's so not okay.
No.
This reminds me, and I know you haven't seen it, but in the first Twilight, there's a similar kind of moment with Bella and, oh my God, Edward. For a second, I was like, what's his name? It was like Robert Pattinson, where they're like kissing, and he literally like throws himself against the wall.
Oh,
because he's like, I don't want to hurt you. And she's like, you wouldn't, kind of thing. So it mirrors this well.
Yeah, it's intriguing. And I definitely have thoughts about that. I mean, one, Paul Wesley's acting is like playing this so well. It's like he's doing a really good job.
Throughout the whole episode, it's so good.
Because it really feels like a distinct shift in like Stefan's like behavior or like expected behavior that we've known from him. So it's just, he's just doing a really good job. However, I feel like a sexy romp could probably like help his jitters. That's like my controversial take. Like we've seen him vamped out from being aroused before, but like, so that's why I'm kind of confused why it's like so jarring in this moment. I mean, maybe it's because it feels more overstimulating than normal, but like, but it's not like that hasn't happened before. I mean, when they first, got really sexy with each other, he also was vamped out and they just made out through it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if maybe he's just worried in this moment he won't be able to exert the control he usually does, where he doesn't just
go and chomp.
And chomp. Yeah. All right, next scene. If you think there isn't another part to this, then you have not been paying attention. We are still at the Gilbert residence. Elena goes to answer the door, and it's Damon, and he's cheeky as she leads him upstairs to her room, speaking loudly so Jeremy can hear that Elena is inviting him up there. Jeremy does not care. Damon walks into Elena's room saying, just like I remembered from the last time he was in there, and Elena tells him to stop messing around. He grabs the teddy bear on her bed and then flops onto it with his shoes on while holding the bear in his lap. As he lounges, he asks if Elena knows that Uncle John is kicking it with the Founders Council. Elena's not thrilled, saying they'll add it to the growing list of how everything's falling apart. Damon catches the broken lamp in the corner and asks Elena about it. She deflects and says nothing, changing the subject to Stefan and his well-being, and asks Damon how long it's going to take for him to get back to normal. Damon says a few days, give or take, but Elena says it's already been a few days. Damon writes this off and says he doesn't know. He asks Elena what's the big deal, and she says that Stefan's not being himself. But Damon corrects her and says maybe the issue is he spent too long not being himself. As he's talking to Elena, he rummages through her clothing and picks up one of her bras. She takes it away from him. He then goes and grabs a picture from her mirror that she tries to snatch back, but isn't successful. Damon goes on to tell Elena that she's only known good behavior Stefan, reined in Stefan, fight against his nature into an annoying excessive level Stefan. We then get our title of the scene about if Elena doesn't think there's another part to all of this, then she's not paying attention. He taunts her jokingly with some kissing noises, and she takes the opportunity to grab the photo back and tells him that Stefan isn't him. He's not even close. He tells Elena that Stefan doesn't want to be him. That doesn't mean deep down he's not. And he leaves.
Damon, get your fucking shoes off the bed, bro. I can't. No. Okay. But I'll say also this, like, perceptive Damon is once again perceptive with the lamp, fully knowing that it was Stefan. And not that Elena was hiding it particularly well, because we know she's a terrible liar, but, like, I don't know.
But she clearly invited him over. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, good, like, you're here.
Yeah.
And takes him upstairs, clearly to talk about Stefan.
Yep.
And then plays it off like, I don't know what happened. Which it's actually a perfect segue into what is going on with Stefan. Yeah. How long is this going to last? Yeah. Like, all of this stuff. So I'm just confused. I have questions.
I also have questions. Oh, my goodness. All right. On to our next scene. Bourbon over blood. We're at the Salvatore boarding house, and this is a little tiny, quick scene. Stefan is stressed and crashing out a little bit. He slaps his hands down on the bar counter, and he pours himself a drink to curb his blood cravings. And then we go on to our next scene, overdue admissions and Gilbert crazies. This is at the Gilbert residence / a lake.
Just lake?
Just a lake, which is in the transcript. It just says lake. Didn't know there was one of those in Mystic Falls, but that's cool. Okay, so Elena knocks on Jeremy's door and asks if he has some time to talk. She says that she doesn't want to talk there at the house and that she wants to get out. Jeremy obliges to this request. So we cut over to Elena and Jeremy walking by a lake, and from context we can tell that Elena finally shared that she was adopted with Jeremy. He can't believe their parents ever told her. But she said they probably would have eventually. He goes on to ask why she was worried about what he thought in regards to her being adopted. And she says it's weird and goes on to clarify that it's weird spending your life thinking you're related to someone by blood, but you're not. He asks if it bugs her, and she says no, and that he's her brother, and that's all that matters. Elena then switches the subject and casually brings up Jeremy's performance in history class so she can fish to assess what Jeremy knows about vampires. He says Mr. Saltzman has been great at helping him out, especially with his extra credit, and she brings up the vampire paper and asks what drew him to the subject matter. However, he doesn't take the bait and just says that it was out of boredom, or he might be just as nuts as the long line of Gilbert crazies. Elena says the Gilberts aren't crazy, but Jeremy says that's easy for her to say since she's not one, and Elena says ouch, but they laugh it off. I can't tell if Elena's doing a good or bad job at being stealthy here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to err on the side of not.
No, because she just kind of, it's like, okay, I made this very big reveal about, like, something personal. And, oh, by the way, like, what is this vampire thing?
Right. Yeah, definitely. I do think it is really sweet, though, when Jeremy asks Elena if it bothers him that they're not related by blood. And she says, no, like, you're my brother. That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. And he, like, looks down and a smile comes onto his face. It's just very sweet. It's very sweet. All right. Next scene. Love the Kesha nod.
I really was hoping you would. Okay, thank you so much.
We are who we are. And if you haven't heard that song by Kesha, go listen to it.
And I spelled it just like the song. Thank you.
She sure did. All right. Our location is Mystic Falls Founders Hall. That kind of rhymes. Well, I guess it does rhyme because Falls Hall. So we're back at the Founders Hall. It appears to be a swanky soiree with everyone dressed up. And we can see from a sign that Mystic Falls is coming up on its 150th Founders Day anniversary. And this is the kickoff event for it. We get a few more interior sweeping shots before we see Stefan and Damon arrive. Stefan looks uneasy and says he shouldn't be there, but Damon tells him not to be a downer. It's a party for the founding families, and they are included in that, and says it'd be rude to skip it. Sarcastically, of course. Stefan says he liked Damon better when he hated everyone. Damon says he still hates everyone, but he loves that they love him. Damon switches the subject and asks how Stefan is feeling, and Stefan curtly responds that he's good. Damon eggs him on and asks if he's had any cravings or urges, and then asks if the whiskey he's been drinking all day is doing its job. He says they are who they are, and pretending won't change that. Stefan says he knows nothing will make Damon happier than seeing him give in. Damon laughs this off and says it's inevitable. Stefan goes to find Elena as he swipes a glass of bourbon from the bar, downs it, and keeps walking.
Dun, dun, dun. Damon, you're being a little annoying there. Okay, on to our next scene. I guess dead kid rates a special greeting from the mayor. Huh. We're at the Founders Hall still, and we're going to be here for a bit. Mm-hmm. We move to a different part of the building and see Mayor Lockwood and Tyler greeting Kelly and Matt Donovan, who are invited to the event because he views the town as one big family, and when they lose a member, they have to all come together. He shakes Matt's hand and leaves them be. Tyler then goes on to follow his dad wherever they're off to. Once they leave, Kelly makes a comment about having a dead kid rates a special greeting from the mayor, which was our title of our scene, and she says she needs a drink and leaves Matt. Tyler comes back to Matt, showing him a bottle he stole for them to drink, and Matt tells Tyler his dad's going to beat him, and Tyler says to let him try. Matt says screw it and partakes in some drinking with Tyler.
A lot of underage drinking at this
party.
A
lot of underage drinking at this party. Also, just like, I know I didn't put a note here, but like, are Kelly and Matt Donovan just like
they're not usually invited,
right? But I'm like confused, like who is invited? Like I know there's like the founding families, so then like who else is like invited? The Mystic Falls elite, like is that the only people that are invited to this? Like I'm confused.
Yeah, it seems like it's founders exclusive or their networks.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, all right.
Next scene: that drunk high school guy at the party sneaking booze. Still at Founders Hall. Stefan is at the bar again, drinking when Elena walks in. He greets her and kisses her head. She immediately notices he's been drinking and is a bit drunk. He confirms he is and says that he knows it's a little weird, but it's helping him take the edge off from the blood. Elena jokes with him, saying he's totally that high school guy at parties sneaking booze, and Stefan says, yeah. She asks if she needs to be worried, and he reassures her that she doesn't need to be, and that it's just until the cravings go away. He switches topics and says they should enjoy it while it lasts, and asks if she wants to dance. She tells him he hates dancing, and that she always has to beg him, but Stefan corrects this, saying that she has to beg sober him. Drunk him doesn't require begging. She says there's no one dancing, and Stefan correctly says that's because they need something better to dance to. Kelly overhears Stefan's last comment and tells Elena that getting the DJ to change the music isn't going to work. She already tried to bribe him with $20 and a date. And that Carol Lockwood has complete control over the music choices. We see from across the room that Stefan is compelling the DJ to change the music. As we hear it change, Elena tells Kelly she'd be surprised what Stefan can accomplish when he puts his mind to it. The music swells more, and we hear that it's 1901 by Phoenix, and people start dancing.
Peak music of the time.
It really is. Kelly makes her way to the dance floor, and she grabs Stefan as Damon moves over to Elena, asking if he stepped into an alternate universe where Stefan is fun. She asks if he's going to be okay, and he just says eventually, one way or another. And he looks on, smirking as Elena looks concerned, and we cut to a commercial break. So it's not weird at all that a parent, Kelly, grabs a minor, Stefan, and starts dancing with him. We will see in a few scenes that she really needs to keep her hands off minors.
Like, genuinely. Like, what? I just don't understand.
Right. And because I watched we watched the episode so many times, I saw that because at first I thought, like, he walked onto the dance floor, but he's turning and she grabs his arm. I'm like,
girl, come on. No.
It was like not that many episodes ago that you were macking on his brother in his home.
Yep.
She's a train wreck. And then, you know who's notably absent from this episode? Mrs. Mayor. So Carol Lockwood clearly has her hands all over this party, right? Controlling the music. And yet
we don't see her at all.
We don't see her, and I bet she's so mad that Stefan disrupted her perfectly planned playlist.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm actually surprised she's not somewhere hitting on Damon, which is really the shocker of this episode.
Maybe she's licking her wounds since he ditched her for the date that she rigged.
That's true. That's true. She might be maybe a little embarrassed that it never worked out. All right, on to our next scene. History teacher, 3 o'clock. We're still at the Founders Hall. The party is popping with more people on the dance floor thanks to Stefan's overhaul of the music. We see Elena and Jenna laughing and talking. Elena spots Alaric and tells Jenna, history teacher, 3 o'clock, and Jenna asks Elena how she looks, and she says, beautiful. Alaric approaches them, saying he's been looking for Jenna, and she says, here I am. She says she hasn't seen him in a while, and he nervously laughs it off, saying that things have been a little crazy, but that he's here now, and asks if she wants to get a drink, and they move away. Matt approaches Elena and asks, when did this happen, referring to everyone out on the dance floor, and he asks Elena, or was that more in reference to the
I think
Jenna?
That's to Jenna.
Oh,
and
okay.
Ric.
Okay, I think it's to yeah, I feel like that was I think that was like to Jenna and to Jenna and Ric. And then he does ask, but then he also is like looking at the dance floor too. So it's kind of like it just happens really close.
Yeah.
But now I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, that was definitely like meant to be like that with them. But then also there's also music going on. And then he asks Elena if she wants to dance, and she at first resists and then says yes. Okay. I'm glad Ric's finally getting back to hanging out with Jenna. As I said, I'm still rooting for them.
Yeah, I am too. And you know what? We haven't seen a ton of Jenna recently. So when she's like, it's good to see you, I'm like, Jenna, it's good to see you, girl.
It's good to see you, girl.
It's good to see you, girl. We love you, Aunt Mom.
We love you, Aunt Mom. Where have you been? Why were you not at the Donovan house when we all found out about Vicky? And by we, I mean everyone, but not the viewers, because we had known about this the whole time. Thanks. And so did Elena. Okay, so I know you have another one right here.
Well, yours is the all caps.
Oh, is that me? Oh,
yeah,
it is
that's
me.
you yelling.
Oh, that's me yelling. I'll try not to yell, but I can't help it when it's like, where is Caroline? Caroline. I know she's like at her dad's, but like, what are we doing? And Matt and Elena, are we for fucking real here? I'll be talking about it more later.
Yeah, I agree. Literally is what I wrote in all caps. I don't believe that our Queen C would miss a party like this and an opportunity to wear a strapless baby doll dress paired with an epic hairdo.
Absolutely. I love that you call her Queen C, just like our other Queen C and Cordelia and Buffy. Love that, because they are kind of pretty much the same coded. So love that.
Yes.
The Queen C's.
The Queen C's. All right, next scene.
You're a Queen C too.
Oh, I am. And you're a Queen B, just like Bonnie. Or Blair from Gossip Girl, who I also love.
I love her too.
Amazing.
Okay.
All right. Home, sinister home. We're still at the Founders Hall. Damon runs into Liz, who looks gorgeous with her hair and makeup done. But if Caroline's not home, who did it for her?
It? I don't know. Maybe maybe she went over it. No, I don't know. I feel like maybe Caroline did and then went to her dad's. Maybe. No, I don't know.
Well, the TVD wiki says that her dad lives in Georgia.
Oh.
Which would not be close.
So that's not close at all.
But I don't think we're told that in the show. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or maybe her dad comes into town
well,
on there's weekends.
There's no way he could live in Georgia, because in the episode where she finds Vicky's body, she's driving to where he lives.
Yeah.
So I think that's just a wiki issue.
Inconsistent.
But yeah, even more reason, where is she? But maybe she did do her mom's hair. Liz is also out of her sheriff garb. She's off duty. Damon rightfully compliments her and tells her she looks smashing. They clink glasses, and she thanks him for the compliment. Liz tells Damon that she wasn't sure about him at first, but he's won her over just like he has done with the rest of the council. He thanks her for this and says the council has been really welcoming and that Mystic Falls is starting to feel like home again. She brings the mood down by saying that he's not going to like what she has to tell him, and that is that John Gilbert's claims check out with a blood bank, and missing people, and they might have another vampire problem. Jeremy then interrupts and asks Sheriff Forbes directly if she has any other information regarding Vicky's death. She tells him it was an overdose. He presses and says that her body was buried. Liz confirms this, but then says the investigation is ongoing and there's nothing she can tell him at this time and apologizes. He walks away. Okay. So first off, Jeremy, she has no legal obligation to tell you anything and actually shouldn't tell you anything, this kid. But also, why hasn't anyone on the council realized it's weird that Uncle Nephew Zach is gone and that he went on this trip right as right as Damon popped up and started participating in the council?
At the same time when vampires started becoming a problem.
Right. I'm like, what?
You know who probably has more insight to this is a different character. Well, the character that we know, which is
Uncle John.
Uncle John. So, I mean, I didn't want to. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it more later in the episode of what he knows, which is still not. We don't fully know what he knows, but we know he knows things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he would have clocked this immediately. You know?
Yeah.
All right. Next scene. Please dance with your alcoholic vampire boyfriend. We're at the Founders Hall still, and Matt and Elena are still dancing together while Katy Perry's cover of Use Your Love plays. As Elena spins away from Matt, Stefan asks Elena to dance with him, which is the title of the scene. She obliges, and they dance to get a little loosey-goosey with it. As Elena spins out again, she accidentally bumps into another guy on the dance floor, and the guy tells her to watch it like an absolute douche. And Elena politely apologizes, saying that she's clumsy. Which we know our girl is clumsy.
But this isn't even being
like,
clumsy.
No,
she
just was dancing and hit this guy. Like, it's so weird. But this douchey dude tells her to get off the dance floor, and Elena says, if she's gonna be like, he kind of says something about like if she's gonna dance like that to get off the dance floor, and Elena rightfully says, excuse me. Obviously taken aback at how the guy is talking to her, but Stefan cuts in and says, that's no way to talk to a lady. The guy says whatever and starts walking off, but Stefan grabs his arm and compels him, saying that he thinks he needs to apologize to Elena, and he does as he's compelled to do, with a twinge of still being douchey. He walks off again, but Stefan grabs him one last time, compelling him once more, saying that he needs to apologize to her like he means it. This time he does apologize in a more glazed out way. Oof. I mean, like, screw that guy. Like, who gets mad at someone for accidentally bumping into them in a crowded place? I think Stefan's compulsion's justified. And I know it kind of like got a little like scary, like a little scary thing at the end, but kind of deserved it.
Yeah, I'm cool with it because this guy sucks.
Yeah,
right?
He fucking blows.
And then Alex also pointed out that no one else on the dance floor, like, it is crowded, like you said, and no one reacts to this happening.
No, it's just like so weird. And
also,
I feel like,
who is this bro?
Yeah, who are you? I feel like he's just like entitled man number 5.
Really, truly. All right, next scene. Don't say I didn't warn you. Still at the Founders Hall. Damon is drinking at the bar, and Elena comes up to ask him if he's seen what his brother's been up to. But Damon says no because he's been too preoccupied with hers. She looks at him confused, and he tells her that Jeremy's been asking questions about Vicky Donovan's death. Elena dismisses this, saying that her brother knows Vicky's death was ruled an overdose. Damon mimics what Jeremy said to Sheriff Forbes about Vicky's body being buried, and then says he, meaning Damon, knows what happened to Vicky's body because, as we know, he was the one who took care of Vicky's body. It actually is really comical. He's like, yeah. Oh, Sheriff, but who would bury Vicky's body? He's like, I know, me.
I know, it's pretty good. He does a really good blind delivery there.
He says he would compel Jeremy what he's wearing for Vane. Elena tells him not to compel her brother, despite Damon bringing up, even if Jeremy keeps asking questions. But Elena insists no, she's not going to do that to him again, and that she'll handle it. He picks up a rose, sniffs it, and then hands it to Elena, saying, don't say I didn't warn you.
Hey, listen, at least he's sniffing the rose and not her hair. That's all I'm saying.
That's some progress. All right, next scene. Vodka. Thank God. Still at the Founders Hall. We move to find Kelly Donovan finishing a drink as she's walking down a hall and places it in a plant. Tyler comes up behind her and says, I saw that. And Kelly goes, shh, we'll keep that between you and me. And then asks where the bathroom is. He says he'll show her. And as they start walking, he grabs the drink from her hand, asking if it's soda. Or she grabs the drink from his hand, asking if it's soda, and proceeds to drink it. After she drinks it, she says, vodka, thank God. I had already mentioned that there's a ton of underage drinking happening per usual, and no adults say anything, but it totally tracks that this would be Kelly's reaction.
Yeah.
Because she's a train wreck.
She's a hot mess. And also just like, not like I've never like done cater, like I mean like I've done like cater adjacent things, like, and like I mean I've worked in like the food service industry, but like why are you fucking putting shit in a fucking plant? I'm just like, that makes me so mad.
It's just rude, right?
Yeah.
And she's worked service industry jobs. We know that.
Yeah, like just like, I don't know, put it on like a table where like I'm sure the caterers and the people that are working the event can like nicely clean it off. Like, why are you putting it in the plant?
Right.
Just disrespectful. Anyway. Okay, so our next scene. Why don't you take a bite to find out? We are still at the Founders Hall, but outside on a balcony. Damon looks out while enjoying his drink. From behind, Uncle John approaches him. He knows who Damon is, and Damon greets him. John says they didn't get a chance to meet at the council meeting. They exchange pleasantries, and Damon asks if John's enjoying the kickoff. Damon then asks John when was the last time he was in town, and John says not too long, and he says for his brother's funeral. He asks Damon the same question, to which he responds, oh, not long at all. John asks Damon if he knows the vampire problem is real and that it has the potential to be a bloodbath. Damon tries to play cool with this and says he shouldn't overreact. He being John, to overreact. John disagrees, saying that he thinks it's like 1864 all over again, and vampires are running amok. And he says he guesses they'll have to hunt them down, put them in a church, and bury them or burn them to ash. Damon, not taking the bait, still plays it cool, saying, "That's the story, huh?" And John clarifies that it's part of the story, and Damon continues to feign interest. John goes on to say that there was a tomb under the church where the vampires were hidden until someone came to set them free. But then he acknowledges that Damon already knows this because he is the one who let them out. Ooh, getting juicy. Damon asks why John is telling him this, and John says in order to get the introductions out of the way. Damon reminds him he could rip his throat out before anyone took notice, and John doesn't deny this, but Damon clocks that he probably invests vervain. John goads him to find out, and once again, Damon doesn't take the bait and tells John it's not worth his time. Damon goes to walk away, and the two men exchange glances as the music crescendos, and Damon bam speeds over to John, snaps his neck, and throws him off the balcony. Whoa! Damon, what the fuck? Uncle John has his nose in some business.
He sure does. Sniff, sniff.
He's not sniffing roses or hair because his business is somewhere else, and that nose is following some leads. Mm-hmm. Also, like, why are we just snapping his neck, Damon? Like, I get that that John clearly is now someone that possesses information that, you know, Damon and, you know, the team are unfamiliar with or, like, not privy to. But, like, why?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. His freaking impulsivity and violent delights, as a little nod to the Church's song, it's not necessary at all. For an individual has shown us how observant he is and how he can successfully play the long game, he does really struggle to think his rash actions through and misses the huge potential consequences. Yeah. So,
like, what?
It's wild. All right, next scene. Whatever it was. Now we're back inside the Founders Hall. Jeremy is sitting by her fireplace, and Elena comes to sit down next to him. She tells him she heard about his conversation with Sheriff Forbes. He shares his concern about no one trying to figure out what happened to Vicky and them just accepting that she OD'd. Elena assures him that the coroner's office confirmed this in an effort to quell his suspicions. He asks Elena if that's what she believes, and she turns it back on him to ask, well, what do you think happened? Jeremy says he thinks someone killed Vicky and buried her body and that it shouldn't be written off because that's easy. Elena insists that they're doing what they can to move on, but Jeremy insists that the truth is the only thing that will help people move on. Elena is curt with him, asking him to let it go and that whatever it was, she's gone, shutting down his inquisition. Jeremy hangs on to her phrasing of this, asking if she doesn't think it was an overdose, but Elena, unconvincingly, says she does believe it was an overdose. He asks her if there's something she's not telling him, and she avoids eye contact and he calls her out on it. She tells him to stop it and that it doesn't mean anything. He then stops and genuinely asks if there was something else that she would tell him, and she says of course she would, but she can't meet his eyes.
Jeremy is not buying his sister's BS. And you know what? I respect him for that.
Yeah, she's truly the worst liar of all time.
She's such a bad liar.
But I do really have to say I appreciate Nina Dobrev because she's really selling Elena's defensiveness and panic as this conversation goes on, from where her eyes are to the delivery of the lines. Like, all of it is so good. So
I appreciate that.
It's there. Alex also was saying, like, the whatever it was, like, she's gone now, that obviously Jeremy is already suspicious, but he's not already suspicious of his sister. Like, this is the first time he is, because in a previous episode talking to Anna, and Anna was like, does your sister know we're hanging out, when she clocks the Vervain bracelet? And he's like, no, but she doesn't know anything about this anyway. So I get that he's on high alert, but it also seems kind of weird that he's that hyper-focused, because meaning you could say, like, well, whatever it was could mean all kinds of things. Like, she's being shady, but he does really jump to that. And I hadn't thought about it until Alex was like, but he doesn't think she knows anything about the supernatural. So
I wonder if her bad lying is what made him escalate this further.
Definitely after this conversation.
I think so. It's that was a fail on Elena's part. All right, on to our next scene. I don't have anyone to talk to. Now let's get into some trouble. We're at the Founders Hall outside. Kelly and Tyler walk out of the building onto a patio and comment how drunk they are. Kelly says Matt's going to kill her, but Tyler tells her he won't even notice. He tells her he thinks Matt is actually letting himself have fun for once. Kelly says she's supposed to be on her best behavior because of Vicky, but she doesn't want to think about it. She says she can't because if she does, and she trails off. Tyler admits that he was a dick to Vicky and that he hates that he can't make any of it right with her. He says it's like he doesn't deserve to miss her. Kelly grabs his jacket and tells him he's nice to talk to her. She shares that she doesn't have anyone to talk to, and Tyler says neither does he. Kelly looks at him knowingly.
It's really sad that they both feel like they have no one to talk to, but this is not a good pairing.
Kelly, no. Nope. Mm-mm.
And we'll see in the next scene just how wrong it goes. Make out and knockout. Same location. Well, we start inside, and then we go back outside. So after her conversation with Jeremy, Elena's walking down a hall when Matt finds her and comments on the fun he's been missing at these parties. She insists they're not usually like this. He asks if it's bad that he's enjoying himself, and she says no, it's great, and thanks him for making her dance. Even though she likes dancing. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
She puts her hand on his shoulder. These two. They hug, and when Matt pulls away, he says he needs air. He asks her to come with him. She clocks Stefan drinking across the way and says, sure. He asks if she's seen his mom, and she keeps watching Stefan and responds that she hasn't in a while. They step outside, and Kelly and Tyler are macking on one another.
Horrible stuff.
Yeah. Matt runs over and pulls Tyler off of his mom and yells, what the hell are you doing, man? Kelly tries to say something and yells at her, and then Tyler makes the mistake of telling Matt to calm down. Matt punches him. Never tell someone to calm down.
No, not especially when you are the person that's making out with his mom.
They start fighting, and Kelly ends up getting knocked onto the ground, and she has a cut on her forehead. The boys keep fighting. Tyler eventually knocks Matt to the ground and is literally beating the shit out of him as Elena yells and Kelly cries. Tyler chokes Matt, and Elena screams for help. Alaric runs out and pulls Tyler off of Matt. Tyler fights Rick's grip, but finally stops, and Rick asks what the hell that was. Mayor Lockwood comes out and tells Rick he'll take it from here. He tells Tyler it's okay and checks to see if he's hurt. Tyler says no, and the mayor takes him to get cleaned up. He thanks Rick for his help and tells the gathered crowd everything's fine and for everyone to go back to the party. Meanwhile, Elena checks on Matt, whose face is cut and bleeding. He asks where she, meaning his mom, went. Okay. So before we get to that big moment, right? For me, it really seems like Matt was going to try to lay one on Elena outside, right? Because, like, He hugs her. He pulls himself away and is like, oh, air. I need air. And then is like, come with me. I'm like, we see you, Matt. We see you.
We see you. We see
and like,
you.
Elena says yes, but like, she's literally not even looking at him. She's like this as he's talking to her.
Yeah, because she's like worried about Stefan. But like, I like can't believe like how close they're being though, because even though like she's still like kind of focused on Stefan, she's still like entertaining Matt, and I don't like that she's like running to him while Stefan's having his blood crash out.
Yeah, I don't. I would think if my boyfriend was experiencing that, I would be glued to his side all night.
Yeah, I would be like probably monitoring all his shit and making sure that I mean like in a protective, loving way to make sure that he's like okay, not chumming it up with my ex-boyfriend who's also dating my best friend, one of my best friends.
I would also probably just take him home.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that Damon's like, well, technically we're founding family members and da-da-da, but like,
he was seen
Stefan
there.
Does not need to be there.
No.
Take him home.
Yeah, and they've already been seen there at that point.
And
so
throw
they
him
can
in the
just
basement with some vervain. Let him air out.
That's honestly, why didn't we think of that?
I thought of it. Why didn't they think of it?
I don't know.
Okay, so
okay. So Kelly, like this is just such a tough look. Like I mean, like Tyler's 17, like we're gonna guess, like, right, because they're all the same age. So this is just no, like across the board. And then like another thing I thought is like with Elena's like now history of somewhat jumping into like vampire brawls, she probably could have tried to split Matt and Tyler up because I think she would have diffused Matt and then Tyler would have had nothing to swing at.
Yeah, I definitely think that's an interesting point. And I do have to say, just with Elena, like when she's trying to see if Matt's okay, she's like literally pawing his face. She's like, and it's weird. One, it's weird. And two, it's not what you should do when someone has multiple like bleeding open wounds on their face. Like, how are you helping? And it feels like such a Damon thing to do. So I guess he's rubbing off on her.
It's honestly, it feels like it. It's weird. And like, just because you're when was the last time you washed your hands? Don't touch his face.
And then just the fucking mayor.
This guy.
Everything's fine. Go back inside. Enjoy the party.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
All right. I think that about covers this scene. Oh, one more thing. It's interesting to me that Mayor Lockwood doesn't give Ric to this time for breaking up a fight that his son's involved in just because of the career night. Like, he was like, what did he say? Like, you're marked or something. Like, he like says that to Ric, but like, Ric, this is the second time Ric has like tried to intervene between like Tyler and someone else scrapping. So just something interesting to think about. Okay. Next scene. You want to hear the bad news or the really bad news? We are at the Founders Hall. Stefan, now with champagne, links up with Damon. Damon asks if Stefan wants to hear the bad news or the really bad news. Stefan says he doesn't want any news.
That's how I feel these days. I don't want any news.
I don't want any news. Damon says he'll rephrase. Do you want to hear how the council is back in vampire mode or how I just killed Uncle John Gilbert? Stefan is genuinely stunned, and Damon very cheekily says, great party, by the way, and walks away. Jesus. Stefan goes to follow him, but then stops because he hears a heartbeat and smells blood. We hear Kelly crying in the background. Intense music plays as Stefan tracks Kelly and approaches. She's sitting in a corner with blood dripping down her face. He asks if she's okay, and and says no and cries that she ruined it. She says she always ruins it and asks what's wrong with her. Stefan kneels, focused on the blood on her forehead, and reaches out to touch her wound, smearing the blood. Very weird. She asks what he's doing, and he breaks out of his trance. He says sorry and walks away, leaving her confused. Stefan goes outside of the parking lot and looks at Kelly's blood on his fingers. He walks over to a secluded fence and fights the urge to lick the blood, but then he sucks Kelly's blood off his fingers.
So it's just a really tough and tense scene all around. And the only thing that I add some comic relief to it is that when he's like smearing the blood on her forehead, I just think about him finger painting.
Yeah.
Like just straight up being like a child and just mixing blood on, paint on your hands and a canvas.
Yeah, it's just also weird because it's like, okay, but he is like supposed to be a 17-year-old and he's like white, like smearing blood on this woman's face. That's just weird. Weird all around, man.
All right.
I hope you like this one too.
I love this scene title. Thank you, Brenna. Surprise, bitch. Still at the Founders Hall. Damon is surveying the scene around the party. It's still pretty busy. As he looks around, he spots Uncle John walking into the room. Damon, surprised, says, "You've got to be kidding me." All right, next scene, ring the bell. Same location. The mayor is speaking to everyone at the event, thanking them for being there. He tells the group how this is the official countdown to the 150th anniversary of Mystic Falls, which will culminate at the official Founders Day celebration. Mayor Lockwood then invites John Gilbert to come and ring the town charter's bell. He calls him one of their favorite brothers, or favorite sons. When John walks up to the front to ring the bell, he says, 150 years of community, prosperity, family. We take care of each other. We look after each other, protect each other. He looks at Damon. It's good to be home. Damon is looking a bit bewildered, and everyone claps. Damon finds Ric in the crowd and tells him to look at John's right hand. Alaric does this as John is ringing the bell. We see that it looks just like his ring. Damon says that it'd be a real coincidence if John didn't come back from the dead 5 minutes ago. Damon asks where Alaric got the ring, and Ric tells him he got it from Isabel. Damon then says, who gave birth to Elena under the medical care of the esteemed Dr. Grayson Gilbert, John's brother. Ric asks Damon if he thinks John knew Isabel, and Damon says he thinks John knows a lot of things, and they stare on as the music swells.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so this is like kind of just weird universe, in-universe, out-of-universe stuff because, like, I'm sure if you are in America or you're aware of the goings-on in America, by the time this episode releases, we'll have just, like, hit our, like, 250th...
Our semi-quincentennial.
Semi-quincentennial anniversary of being America. We won't get into all of the things that we feel about that, but I just like wanted to point out that it's interesting because like that's something that's going on in our world right now. They are celebrating 150 years. Also, we live in Philadelphia, and they're ringing a bell, which is like the Liberty Bells here in Philadelphia. Just so that's why I put Ring the Bell as the title. And just a fun fact for anyone who is not a Philadelphia fan, but like Ring the Bell is something that like they do at the Phillies when like they want, like, because when they hit home runs and stuff, like they ring the bell rings. Like, so very fun stuff. Just wanted to drop some lore of that in there, but just like paralleling with like some synergy with us covering TVD at this time.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, it's very sus that John has the same ring that Ric has. That was Isabel's.
It sure is. And if you watch very closely during earlier scenes with John, you will see that he has a big ring on, but we don't get an up-close shot until this moment.
Fun. All right. Next scene. You're gonna be sorry, man. We're at the Founders Hall outside. Stefan walks outside of the party and we see the douchey guy from the dance floor saying bye to someone. He bumps right into Stefan and sarcastically apologizes to him. And Stefan says, you don't want to do this, man. The guy pushes him again and apologizes sarcastically once more. He tells Stefan all he can do is apologize now. And Stefan politely asks him to get out of his way. The man jeeringly asks if he has no girl to show off for now. And he goes to punch Stefan in the face. And Stefan catches the punch, crushing his hand. The guy buckles under the pressure of Stefan breaking his hand, and Stefan pushes him to the ground. Stefan's eyes begin to get veiny, and he starts pursuing the guy who is scrambling on the ground and asks what Stefan is. Yikes. All right, on to our next scene. ... Vicky was a monster? ? We're at the Gilbert residence. We're in a different place now. Jeremy comes home from the event and heads upstairs. He goes into Elena's room and starts looking around. He looks inside her drawers and checks in various other places in her room. He eventually finds her journal stashed behind the painting of the horse that hangs above her bed. He starts reading the journal, which we can see has explicit details of everything that's happened since Elena has learned of vampires. Jeremy also sees the part of Elena taking away Jeremy's pain. Yikes. I don't think this is going to end well now that Jeremy's in the know of everything, especially with like knowing that now Elena's been hiding stuff, even though she point blank just told him that she would tell him things if something was up.
Yeah, totally. And also, I know that this show and this book series is literally called The Vampire Diaries, but maybe don't write everything down, Elena, or get a lock for your journal.
Yeah, like what? And also, like, I know that Elena would do the same shit with this. Like, this is very, I mean, I feel like this is very Elena coded too, of like going through stuff to try to find things. So, I mean, you know, if you can't beat him, like Jeremy's just doing probably what you would do too. So,
Yeah. All right, next scene. Clumsy compulsion. We're back at the Founders Hall outside. Stefan looks at the douchey guy laying on the ground. He sees Elena step outside in the background calling for him. He vamp speeds away. Elena keeps calling for him and eventually notices the guy on the ground. She asks if he's okay and what happened. He comes to and tells Elena about his arm and that he lost his balance and fell and that he's clumsy. Elena is concerned. Next scene, losing control. Still at the Founders Hall. We catch a glimpse of a juicy full moon before landing on Tyler looking uncomfortable. Mr. Lockwood, Mayor Lockwood, comes from the doorway over to Son and tells him, let's go. Tyler tries apologizing to his dad, saying he doesn't know what happened. He was drinking and he lost control. He can't seem to explain why. Mayor Lockwood listens to his son and then slaps him across the face, telling him that this is the last time he will embarrass their family. Tyler is hurt and angry. And all I gotta say is, for a person who is so concerned about appearances, this asshole hits his child with the door open, and we can see people right outside this open door. Crazy stuff.
Cannot believe. All right, next scene. Better off without you. We're at the Donovan residence. Matt is upset and packing up his mother's clothing. Kelly walks in to ask what he's doing, and he tells her he can't do this anymore and that she has to go and that she's done it before. Upset, she tells him that she's not leaving him, but tells her that he's better off without her. Kelly starts to cry and says no. She apologizes for tonight and says she's failed him and Vicky, but she won't do it to him again and promises once more to get it together. Matt tells her that he wants her out of the house and out of his life by morning and walks away as Kelly calls to him and continues to cry. I don't blame Matt for this one. I think he's in the right to just tell her to like fuck off at this point because she's just like creating so much chaos and mess.
Yeah, I think enough is enough.
Yeah. Okay, next scene. Information is power. We're back at the Founders Hall outside. John is exiting the Founders Hall as Damon trails behind him, followed by Ric. Damon asks John if he's going somewhere. John says he never likes to be the last one to leave the party because it seems desperate. He asks Damon if he's there to kill him again, or asks if he's going to allow Ric to do his dirty work. What? Ric pipes up, stating that John clearly knows who he is and correctly names Ric and says he's a high school history teacher with a secret. Damon chimes in saying he knows a lot for someone who's just got into town. And then John says, more than you can imagine, Damon. My knowledge of the town goes beyond anything that you, and he looks at Damon, or you, he looks at Alaric, or the council knows. So if you're planning on some clever high-speed snatch ring vamp kill move, know that if I die, everything I know goes to the council, including the fascinating tale of the original Salvatore brothers and their present-day return to Mystic Falls. Dun, dun, dun. Alaric asks John how he got his ring, and he tells her he inherited one from his and his brother inherited the other. The one he's currently wearing is Elena's dad's, and the one that belonged to him was given to Isabel. He then goes on to say that he regrets giving it to her since he now knows she handed it over to another guy, meaning Ric, who is also currently wearing the ring, I think. Yeah, he's definitely wearing the ring. Damon confirms that John knew Isabel, and he says, who do you think sent her your way when she wanted to become a vampire? He confirms with Damon that he did send her and pokes at Damon, asking if he thought it was someone else, and he names Catherine. Damon asks how he knows about Catherine, to which John replies, how do I know of anything, Damon? Damon asks what he wants, and John completely ignores him, saying it was a pleasure meeting Ric and that he's heard so much about him. John gives a look back to Damon and leaves the two men dumbfounded.
I just have to say that I didn't think about this before, but why is Alaric at this party? He's new to town and he doesn't have a familial connection.
Yeah, it's like weird that he's there. That's what I'm like saying. Like, I'm just like so curious about what this like guest list is.
Yeah,
like, what's that about?
I don't know.
Like, what? Okay. Damon hates this man for knowing things, and it's kind of fun that it's flipped on him the way that he showed up to Mystic Falls and was taunting Stefan.
Mm-hmm.
I love this reversal for Damon being in this like vulnerable point. I know we've like seen it a little bit like with Pearl and stuff, but this feels like really fun because it's clear that John's got some knowledge and some plans, and it's like directly in opposition of like Damon and Stefan's existence.
Yeah, I'm freaking here for Uncle John and all of his knowledge. Just saying.
Yeah, and I mean, the connection with Isabel to John is sussy.
Sure is. And then, just important question. Do we think it's desperate to be the last one at a party?
No, I love being the last one at the party. If
You're often the last one at my parties.
Down, baby. I was Dwight and I were the last ones at your party from not this
Mardi
time.
Gras.
Not this most recent time when
you weren't. I feel like you actually left kind of early for you.
Yeah, I had to get Taco Bell.
You had to get Taco Bell. I understand.
No free ads, but I just really needed that because I was pretty hungry, and I was like, but no, I mean, yeah, normally I am like the last one, but I was also like, sometimes you just don't have to be the last one, but oftentimes it is me. And I love that.
Yeah, I don't think it's desperate.
I don't think it's desperate. I love hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
I'd rather be kicked out by my friends being like, hey, we got to go to bed. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. Bye.
Yeah, totally. All right, next scene, extreme hunger. We're at the Gilbert residence. Elena and Jenna have returned home from the event, are walking up the stairs. Jenna makes a comment about not being thrilled to have another month left of Founders Day events, and Elena agrees. Elena stops by Jeremy's bedroom where he's skulking by his computer. He has like a book in his hand, but it's not clear what the book is. She asks if he's okay, and he says fine. She asks if he's sure, and he doubles down on being fine in a very muted and cool tone, which Elena clocks. Jeremy exhales as she leaves. Elena makes her way to her bedroom and catches Stefan behind her, and this spooks her. Stefan apologizes for running off earlier. She asks what happened and if everything's okay. He admits that he's not okay. Elena goes to close the door and asks Stefan to talk to her. He tells her that he tried really hard to keep it together tonight, and it was working to a degree until Matt's mom's head was bleeding and how the man in the parking lot was behaving, and that he wanted to feed on him, and it took a lot for him not to do it. She asks if he did, and he says he didn't, but he wanted to. He goes on to say how his head is pounding and it feels like his skin's on fire. He continues to go into detail about the extreme hunger he's been feeling and wants to make sure he lets her know because he promised he wouldn't keep anything from her. She reassures him that she needs him to tell her these things, but Stefan doesn't want Elena seeing him like this. He doesn't want her to know this side of him exists. She reassures him that it's going to be okay and that she will help him, but he's worried about what he could do to her. She tells him she's not afraid and kisses him, and they hug. He tells her he loves her, and she tells him she loves him too. Steffi. He's truly drowning, and I really love Elena for reassuring him that she's not afraid of him, right? He needs to know he has her support, and I also really appreciate his honesty with her. You can tell just how hard it is for him to share.
Yeah. It's really sweet that she's really being a good girlfriend. We have a lot of gripes about Elena, but
right now she's being a good girlfriend.
She's being a very supportive girlfriend. Okay. I think that we're at our final scene. Global crisis. We are at the Salvatore boarding house. Stefan walks into the den, and Damon is sitting on the couch, concerned. He holds his glass of blood to his head and says they have a problem, and when he means problem, he means a global crisis. He starts to tell him about Uncle John, but when he sees Stefan's face, he tells him he doesn't look so good and correctly assumes it's his blood struggle and that the need to feed is different this time and too strong after all these years. He puts the glass down and walks over to his brother. He tells Stefan to have a good night and knowingly leaves the glass behind. Stefan walks over to the glass, struggling. He picks it up and drinks the rest of it. Stefan, I'm so sad. And also Damon, what the fuck? Why?
I know. I hate Damon so much in this moment, and I don't get why he's pushing Stefan further down this path when they're in serious danger of being exposed. If anything, you'd be like, okay, we need to get a grip on what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's just shitty behavior from Damon, and also Stefan also should know about Uncle John.
Yeah. It's stupid.
We will definitely talk more about this in our hot takes, final thoughts, because I have a lot of spicy feelings about it.
I can't wait. Yeah, we're going to get into more of this. But that's our deep dive part of our episode today. So we will move right along to folklore.
All right, let's dive into some folklore. So this week we thought we would talk about magical rings. In this episode, we see Elena's Uncle John come back to life after Damon snaps his neck in the same way we've seen Damon kill Ric a few episodes ago, due to wearing an identical ring to Ric's. We learn from Uncle John that the ring Ric owns belongs to him, and the one he's wearing at the Founders event was his brother's, Elena's dad.
While we may not fully understand the scope of the rings outside of their ability to bring people back from the dead, there is a long folkloric history of magical rings serving a host of purposes. So we thought this episode would be a fun opportunity to explore magical rings.
We're also going to say, just a disclaimer, that we're going to do our best with pronunciation, but Brenna and I are going to be pronouncing all different kinds of names in different languages in this section, so please bear with us.
Please bear with us.
Have some leniency
for
us.
We're not going to pretend like we are scholars and able to pronounce things correctly. We're okay with living with that. So thank you.
Okay. According to Wikipedia, a magical ring is a mythical, folkloric, or fictional piece of jewelry, usually a finger ring, that is purported to have supernatural properties or powers. It appears frequently in fantasy and fairy tales. Magic rings are found in the folklore of every country where rings are worn. Some magic rings can endow the wearer with a variety of abilities, including invisibility and immortality. Others can grant wishes or spells such as never-ending love and happiness. Sometimes magic rings can be cursed.
Magical rings date back to the classical era in Greece. Magical properties did not solely belong to rings, as there were other objects that were also magical. However, during the late Greek classical era, Plato tells a story about the ring of Gyges. Gyges?
Yeah, I looked that one up. Gyges? That sounds right.
Gyges, yeah. Okay. Which conferred invisibility on its wearer as a political allegory in the second book of the Republic.
The shepherd Gyges, who found it in a cave, used its power to seduce the queen, kill the king, and take his place. However, it seems to have been a new story invented by Plato rather than being ancient. Earlier accounts of Gyges, the king of Lydia, make no mention of any magic ring.
Flavius Josephus.
I looked that up. That's right.
These names are great. A Roman Jewish historian and military leader spoke of a ring that could exorcise demons in the presence of the emperor Vespasian.
Amazing. A Scottish social anthropologist named J.G. Fraser.
Okay, that one's easy. That's a good one.
Who wrote The Golden Bough, speculated that in the primitive mind, rings can serve as devices to prevent the soul from leaving the body and to prevent demons from gaining entry. A magical ring, therefore, might confer immortality by preventing the soul's departure and thwart the penetration of any harmful magic that might be directed against the wearer. These magical properties inhibiting egress of the soul may explain, quote, an ancient Greek maxim attributed to the ancient philosopher and mystic Pythagoras.
You're good. You got there. It's okay. Listen, no, it's great because when you actually see it written out, it's like confusing.
Yeah. Which forbade people to wear rings, end quote.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a little bit more rings. Okay, so a popular ring in history and folklore is the Ring of Solomon. It was used to control demons and or jinn, a legend created by traditional medieval Arabic and Arabic demonology. So just a few kind of like sub things to this is that tales of magical rings feature in 1001 Nights, where the fisherman Judar bin Omar finds the ring of the Enchanter, I think, maybe, Al-Shamardal. And the cobbler Maruf discovers the signet of Shaddad ibn Ad. I'm trying so hard. Hopefully that was okay.
I think you're doing great.
Please, I'm sorry. Each ring has powers from jinn magically confined in them. In the story Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, Aladdin also summons a second genie, a jinn, from a finger ring given to him by Maghrabi magician.
A story about King Solomon and a ring is found in the Babylonian Talmud, but rings are more fully discussed in Jewish mystical literature. The power of a ring is in the divine name with which it is inscribed. Such rings are used to invoke and command various guardians of heavenly palaces and to gain entrance to those heavens.
In the Zohar, God is thought to own and use a signet ring, or at least a signet.
Magical rings were also quite popular in Germanic folklore. A small number of Anglo-Saxon finger rings dating to the Viking Age, bearing runic inscriptions of apparently magical significance, have been discovered in England, such as the Kingmore ring and the Bromham-Moor ring. Rings endowed with special properties were significant in pagan Scandinavia.
A magical ring in Germanic mythology is the arm ring of Draupnir, worn by the god Odin, because its only reported function was to create more gold armbands every 9 days. Draupnir, maybe that's it. Draupnir, may have been a religious symbol meant to represent prosperity. The ring was placed on Baldur's funeral pyre, but Baldur gave Draupnir back to Hermor, I'm not sure. And so the ring was returned to Odin from Hel. Or Heel. I forget how you say Heel or Hel.
I think it's Hel or Hela.
Or Hel. Yeah, I think there's also another. Well, we'll have to confer with Ash on this one because Ash definitely probably knows every single thing that I just said in that one
I'm sure
sentence,
they do.
And they definitely know it better than us. Okay.
Well, this next name that I will share, I did look it up and I listened to a video a few times, so hopefully I do it justice.
Oh, I'm. Let it rip.
All right. In medieval romance, Sir Yvon is given a magical ring by a maiden in Chrétien de Troyes.
That sounds great.
12th century Arthurian romance, The Knight of the Lion. This finger ring can be worn with the stone on the inside facing the palm, and then it will make the wearer invisible. The 14th century Middle English Arthurian romance, Sir Percival of Gauls, has the hero Percival take a ring from the finger of a sleeping maiden in exchange for his own. And then he goes off on a series of adventures that includes defeating an entire Saracen army in a land of maidens. A land of maidens.
I would love to be in a land of maidens.
Right?
Oh my gosh. So can I read the thingy?
Of course you can.
Okay, great. Okay, so now let's take a look at some more contemporary examples of magical rings. We're about to pop off. And if you know anything about magical rings and if it's making you think of a certain magical ring or other magical rings, here we go. 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them, in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie, which is from the Lord of the Rings series. So if you want to go on to the next part.
So we don't think that we could talk about magical rings without talking about one Mr. J.R.R. Tolkien and the rings of power that are heavily prominent through his fictional works from The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the Silmarillion. It's well known that Tolkien was a student of folklore, so it's not surprising that the rings featured in his works operate with some similarities, like the One Ring being able to make the wearer invisible.
And so because we just really, and by we, I mean, I definitely popped off on this. We're going to break down each of the different rings. So we'll just go back and forth. So the One Ring. for it and their properties, right? So 1 ring, invisibility, extended lifespan, control of knowledge of all other rings. Over the time, corrupts the wearer to evil.
The 3 elven rings, to heal and preserve, but bears an effect that makes the wearer procrastinate and feel nostalgic.
So the first of the 3 elven rings is Narya, from the Kenya word nar, which is which I might be also butchering because I don't know Elvish, but it means fire and was set with a ruby. Its metal is not stated, but it gives the wielder resistance to the weariness of time and evokes hope and courage in others. Its final bearer was the wizard Gandalf, who received it from, oh my god, guys, don't shoot me, I don't know, Círdan, maybe, at the Grey Havens during the Third Age. I'm trying my best.
And then there's Nenya, the ring of water, the white ring, the ring of adamant from Kenya.
Yeah, that's the elven language, yeah.
Okay, water. Was made of mithril and set with a, quote, shimmering white stone. Galadriel used to protect and preserve the realm of Lothlorien. Adamant means both a type of stone, usually a diamond, and stubbornly resolute, a description that equally well suits the quality of Galadriel's resistance to Sauron.
And then the 3rd ring of the elves, Vilya, the ring of air, the blue ring from the Kenya word Vilya, which is air, was the mightiest of the 3. It was made of gold and set with a sapphire. Elrond inherited Vilya from Gil-galad and used it to safeguard Rivendell.
Love Rivendell.
Yes.
7 dwarf rings to give wealth, but the effect on the wearers are greed and anger.
And then the 9 rings of mortal men. Invisibility, extended lifespan, terror, makes wearers enslaved to the power, and permanent invisibility. These are what the Nazgul have gotten, and that's their overall corruption. So I am by no means a Lord of the Rings scholar. I actually low-key didn't start watching the Lord of the Rings movies till way later than I should have, and but I'm still a fan, so I'm not a scholar, and I know that we have a lot of friends and people who really go hard on Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So don't come for us. We're trying.
But we do love it.
We still love it.
And it is important for our listeners to know that I did have a Legolas poster on the back of my door. But I am a Legolas fan, but
I love that.
I've got some other favorites from the series.
Aragorn, son of Arathorn.
I mean, is he a perfect man or what?
He's perfect to me. Also funny that you had Legolas, because I had Will Turner, who's also played by Orlando Bloom from Pirates of the Caribbean.
He was doing a lot in the early 2000s.
He was really doing a lot. He was probably on a lot of people's a lot of people's bedroom posters.
I'm sure he was. Yes. All right. So a little bit more about magical rings. So there's the ring of the Nibelung.
I think.
Okay.
Sounds
great.
Close.
I'm going to have so much fun reading all this. Okay. The composer Richard Wagner wrote a series of 4 operas titled Der Ring des Nibelungen, which present his version of the story told in the Nibelungenlied. Lasagna. That's honestly what my brain thinks. I'm so sorry.
No, I love it. Nibelungenlied.
We're so sorry.
We are. Apologies to everyone.
Yes. And in Volsunga Saga, as well as the prose Edda. The operas are more often called the Wagner Ring Cycle in English.
Much easier to say.
In this cycle, the Ring of the Nibelung ultimately brings about the downfall of the old gods as Brunhilde returns the ring, a name we know,
Brunhilde,
which confers power back to the Rhine maidens from whom its gold was stolen in the first place.
We gotta get the Rhine maidens.
We have to.
We have to get the gold back. Oh, also, I'm pretty sure this is just random. I'm just remembering this because I think the Wagner ring cycle is also part of what inspired Lord of the Rings too. I'm pretty sure. Someone else can fact check me on that. Namely, I'm sure my husband, but I'm pretty sure that's was inspired by that. Okay, next one. So, in The Magician's Nephew from C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia series, 2 magic rings, which take people to the wood between worlds. Is like a linking room between parallel universes, are central to the story. A yellow ring, when touched, sends a person to the wood between worlds, while a green ring is used there to bring that person into a world of their choosing. These rings were created by the magician Uncle Andrew by the use of magical dust from Atlantis. I've actually never have read these books. I mean, I've seen the movies, but I really kind of feel like I should. It feels fun.
I agree.
Maybe in time for Greta Gerwig, because she's going to come out with that. So I think it's time.
Then there's the lantern rings used by the Green Lantern Corps that are weapons that can be shaped by the wearers.
And we'll be seeing that soon for anyone that's into watching the Lantern series that's coming out shortly from HBO/DC. So it'll be fun. And then the animated series Captain Planet and the Planeteers features 5 elemental rings: earth, fire, wind, water, and heart, which, when combined, summon the titular hero.
So as we can see, there are a lot of historic, folkloric, and contemporary media representations of magical rings, and we of course can't forget the daylight rings that we know to already exist in the TVD universe. We look forward to exploring more about daylight rings and the mysterious rings that both Ric and Uncle John possess.
Really fun. Oh my gosh, this was a fun one today.
It was a fun. You did such a great job. Alex and I had brainstormed the idea, and of course I mentioned Lord of the Rings, knowing you were already going to include that, and then you really just popped off, and you did a great job. So thank you, Bren.
And thank you, but also thank you to Wikipedia for helping me figure all this stuff out, which I pretty much pulled from there. But
YouTube for all of the pronunciations I tried to learn.
Yep, and you're better than me. So, but no, this is so fun. I love these are why we love doing folklore, because I feel like when we get to learn cool stuff like this and put it together, it's really cool to just see it all together. And I mean, this is obviously just even a still surface level. I'm sure there could be we could probably do a whole podcast episode
we could look at fairy tales. We could talk about how it's tradition to put a ring on someone's finger when you're getting married and you're pledging yourself to them. I mean, there's family crests. There's so many. There's so many things. We could but it's fun that we get to touch on it a little bit every week. So yes, definitely.
Shall we go on to our hot takes?
I think so.
All right.
Hot takes, final thoughts. Where do we want to begin?
Where do we begin? Okay. Who do we want to start with? Who do we need to talk about first?
Uncle John.
Do we want to start with Uncle John?
Let's start with Uncle John.
Let's start with Uncle John. Let me see. Oh, here's my first thing. I said I have questions, as always, but it seems like Uncle John might have quite a few answers for us.
Oh, yes.
That was just me being cheeky. But
no, I love that.
How do we feel about Uncle? Oh, and then, here's just a little thing I have. His connection with Isabel is sure to bring some drama. And I do love how this is tangentially related to John, but since Ric and Damon were kind of part of John's thing, I love how Ric just tolerates Damon now in this point, and they're sort of on the same team. It's enemy of my enemy is my friend. And,
yes, yeah.
Not pertaining to John, because it seems like they both are not keen on John, of course, especially with Ric having with John's connection with Isabel. But I think it's a fun choice to bring a destabilizing character like John into the last string of our episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that according to Elena, no one likes Uncle John. Even Liz calls him a jackass, right? But I personally really enjoy him. His swagger, his confidence, the way he uses knowledge to destabilize and threaten Damon and Ric. It's truly great stuff. And I'm excited to see more of this because he's full of juicy secrets, and I like seeing Damon squirm.
Yeah, I think we're going to have fun with him. I'm trying to see if there's any. I think that was all my John thoughts for now, but I'm sure we will have more as we go.
Yeah, I think those are all my John thoughts too.
Should we go to, I'm trying to see who else we want, maybe Elena.
Sure, let's talk about Elena.
Elena. Okay. Where do you want to start with any? Do you have any
Let's see. What did I don't even know. I do. My only real Elena besides so I have a few things. It's just really wrapped up. So do I talk about Elena with Stefan or do I talk about Elena with Matt first?
Let's talk about Elena with Matt, and then we can go into Elena and Stefan, and also Stefan.
Okay, and this is also going to be about Caroline, too.
That's great. I also have my Caroline thoughts as well.
So I missed Caroline this week, and Bonnie, and I hated all the flirty Matt and Elena stuff. And then this is kind of an additional note to that. I know Caroline's at her dad's, but the Forbes are a founding family, so really she should be at the party. Maybe even with her dad, who we've yet to meet, because her mom is a Forbes by marriage.
Yeah.
So founding family, they should be there.
Yeah.
And we miss her.
100%.
And I'm so over Matt and Elena and their flirty inappropriateness.
And to piggyback off of that, what's Elena's deal with immediately running to Damon and Matt every time she feels uneasy with Stefan? I understand kind of her like seeking out Damon's help because he's a vampire, because it's Damon's Stefan's brother. So like I get that, right? Like I understand why like she might like go to him to like just kind of see what the deal is. But, like, then, like, her dancing with Matt is so lame because, like, they were getting really, closer than they should be. And I know they have familiarity. I know that they, like, they care about each other a lot. But, like, we just saw how upset Caroline was, like, with them interacting with each other. Even just, like, hopscotching down memory lane. Like, come on. Like, we need to just, like, distance ourselves.
We need to squash this.
Yeah, we need to get rid of this. Like, and it just... Like, don't do this. And I know that, like, Bonnie's been gone for a few episodes, which is, like, truly just upsetting to...
It's unforgivable.
It's unforgivable and upsetting to both of us. But I feel like that's who... Like, Elena needs to confide in Bonnie at this point with, like, some of the shit because, like, I just think she would be a better sounding board than Damon and also Matt.
Yeah. So... I agree to all of that. And, you know, I think it's really interesting that Stefan, and like rightfully so, the guy that he gets in the little like kerfuffle with is being a douche.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get territorial over Elena with Matt. And I think that's kind of surprising based off of how drunk he is and just his general behavior. But a part of me is like, oh, he really knows that this boy is no threat to him.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't know that though. He's like... Come with me outside. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No,
go away.
She threw you out, Matt. Literally threw you out like you were garbage. Move on.
It's time to move on, my brother. Please.
And worship at the altar of Queen C.
Yes, because she deserves it. Thank you. Once again for our TED Talk. All right, where are we going next?
Well, to continue, it's really me starting to talk about Stefan, but it'll talk about Elena a little bit more then get into the Damon of it all.
Sure.
Okay, so this entire episode was really tough regarding Stefan and his bloodlust / addiction. I'm glad Elena's supporting him. So she gets some points for me, like you said during the deep dive, that like we knock on her a lot, and she's definitely not being the best of the best siblings right now or friends. And definitely not a good boundary queen, but she is being there for Stefan. Yeah. And so I have to give her points for that. But she also keeps going to Damon for help, which is not helping anything. Like, Damon is not taking it seriously. And what she doesn't realize is behind the scenes, he's like pushing his brother to go further into this. So yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that before we talk a little bit more about the complexity about what's happening.
You know what I like was just thinking is like from Mean Girls, like you're a pusher, Katie, like drug pusher. Okay, anyway, that's
amazing.
Like, Damon's a pusher.
Yeah,
you're a pusher, Damon. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like I feel really bad for Stefan, and like I mean, I feel like we kind of talked about like addiction storylines. I mean, it's always like tough. Like I always like struggle with them a little bit, like in episodes. I mean, I know it's like important and like it's like a good way to kind of like parallel, you know, real world like addiction like that. And I think the one really good and positive thing is that like I know Stefan's like very embarrassed about like how he's feeling, but at least like Elena, like at least he's being open and honest. Mm-hmm. And like that's like really important, especially for anyone like in recovery, is like being open and honest about like where they're at and where they're feeling like they're feeling in it. And I'm just glad that he's there. And like what a change from the beginning of the show where he was like kind of keeping everything a secret.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, kind of just to piggyback off of the addiction talk, we know that in this world alcohol curbs cravings, but it definitely feels also like this is a metaphor for addiction, for alcoholism. I mean, he's just a drunk mess in this episode. And he's really suffering. And then I literally wrote to myself to say on camera, see my next thought. Fucking Damon. I truly do not understand what he's thinking throughout most of this episode. Snapping Uncle John's neck and then repeatedly baiting his brother to drink people blood. What is his angle with Stefan? I get his whole, like, stop denying who you are, and also to his earlier point at the beginning of the episode, like, they're not going to be able to handle the tomb vampires if Stefan doesn't have his strength.
Yeah.
But Stefan is struggling internally, right, with this. And then there's Uncle John and the tomb vampires to worry about, which is an external conflict. And I just don't understand what Damon's trying to accomplish, and think about how differently this entire episode would have gone, but especially that final scene if, you know, when Stefan comes in inconsolable, right? He's so upset, and his brother clocks this and maybe pauses telling him about John anyway.
Yeah.
But is like, instead of like truly helps his brother have a good night.
Yeah.
Instead of have a good night, brother. I'm just genuinely confused. This feels like exactly the thing you don't want to have happening.
Yeah.
When the council is up your ass. Well, not up your ass, but because they don't know it's you. But is onto vampires, and then Uncle John knows you and Stefan are vampires. It just feels like this is
not the time for us.
This is not the time for your petty, whatever the fuck it is, bullshit, Damon.
Not time to be unaligned, which means like you need to have Stefan be more sound of mind. And it seems like with what we're seeing so far is that with his blood, like lust and blood, like just cravings, he's not thinking clearly, and you need Stefan to be thinking clearly so they can handle this shit.
Because he's the one who actually is better at interacting with people.
Yeah.
And being human.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think maybe this kind of lends itself to talk about some like speaking of like people who are abusing substances, Kelly. Okay. So I feel like I'm trying to think which one I'd want to start with. Okay, so do we think that Kelly knew the extent of Tyler and Vicky's relationship? I think that's where my first question is.
I feel like she could read between the lines.
Yeah.
Because even if you didn't have the context, it seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And I think she knows and like recognizes her daughter within herself.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine they talk to that much because it doesn't seem like Matt ever hears from his mom when she's not there. So I think she's maybe guessing, but it's icky.
It's so gross. And it's just like, I don't know. And like, I know we're watching a vampire show where these vampires are like over 100 years older than like our protagonists and like other characters. But, like, this is pretty, like, unforgivable for, like, Kelly's behavior. Like, it was, like, one thing, like, sucking face with Damon. But it's just, like, a whole other thing with Tyler, who's, like, her son's, like, one of her son's best friends. And also, like, her deceased...
/ only friend?
Yeah, like, only friend. And deceased daughter's, like, I mean, whether it was, situationship, we'll say. But, like, it's just horrible. And so like and then that kind of goes into my other thought of like being like while I like really hate Matt for his like Elena shit, I actually don't blame him for how he's felt about his mom and that she's got to go. Like I fully support Matt in kicking her out.
Yeah. She's got to go. And I think then with Matt, I think that leads into Tyler pretty well. So seems like Matt's earlier comment to Tyler about his dad beating him if he found out he was drinking was some foreshadowing.
Yeah.
The interaction with his dad post-fight echoes what we saw during the career fair.
Yeah.
And Tyler even told Jeremy in that like moment, like he doesn't know why he is the way he is. So it's really sad to see. And I think we got to the heart of some of Tyler's douchiness and poor decision-making when he tells Kelly that he doesn't have anyone to talk to. Bullies are often bullied, right?
Yeah.
And clearly his dad is a bully.
Yeah.
Plus his mom does not give compassionate mom vibes so far.
No.
And also, where is Carol Lockwood?
I also have my note of where was Carol Lockwood in all of this.
Yeah.
But I think our headcanon is that she's sad that
She's
Damon...
licking her wounds.
She's licking her wounds from Damon.
Obviously, this doesn't excuse Tyler from kissing Matt's mom or treating Vicky like trash or then, choking Matt out. But he is a child, right?
Yeah.
Like, he is still a minor. And I think that while none of this excuses him, it does give us context for why he is struggling in the way that he is.
Yeah. It's tough. See, all the men in Mystic Falls have trauma.
They really do.
They really do. I think we kind of like touched on this is like one like little, because I know we have the Jeremy stuff, so I might just like clear these couple out before we talk about that, since Jeremy's like where we sort of left, but like still waiting for Bonnie to come back. I know we already mentioned it, but just making sure I mention it one more time, since the show's not talking about Bonnie or having her there, so we need to.
Yeah.
And then what happened to the remaining tomb vamps? Like, I don't think, like, Ric and Damon got all of them. So
they definitely didn't.
So, like, where, like, what?
They also didn't kill a lot of them.
Yeah.
I
guess Pearl just called them off.
They just put Vervain in them.
So, I mean, I guess we'll find out.
But it is weird. There's no Anna. There's no Pearl. And we're talking about selling or not selling Dr. Gilbert's office. But that's to Pearl. So there's context here and characters that we're missing.
And also, like, just with all the intel that John shared with the council of, like, that's definitely, like we said earlier in the episode, like, that's tied to the tomb vampires. So it's like, it was like weird. I mean, like, I get it. TV, we understand. Like, it's like you have to have the episodes contained, and like, so that there wasn't really like a space to check in on them in this episode. And I'm sure we'll find out more later. But it's always like, because it just felt like such a present thing in like the last string of episodes to then like completely shift away from it. But you know what? What I would argue with in favor of having John on the scene, kind of worth it. And I'm glad, because I also don't really care about the tomb vamps. Okay, this town really loves a celebration. Like, how many celebrations have... we gotta, like, break this down. How many celebrations has this town had so far?
Well, we had the very confusing Founders Party, or Founders Council Party, or whatever that was.
Yep.
Where everyone was wearing a baby doll strapless dress when Damon tries to kill Caroline.
Yep.
Don't want to talk about that more.
Night of the Comet.
Night of the Comet.
Technically, I guess a town soiree, and I mean more casual affair, but like that was just like in the town center.
There's the Halloween party.
Halloween party at the high school where everyone else is invited.
Car wash fundraiser.
Car wash.
There's the bachelor party bachelor raffle to raise funds for Founders Day. There's Caroline's, which is really Damon's soiree at the grill. And then this is unofficial, but there's Duke's Party in the Woods. There's also the pilot episode Party in the Woods.
Oh, yeah. There's just a lot. Some I guess, town sanctioned and unsanctioned parties galore. But yeah, this town, they really just are. I'll be intrigued to see what they really do for Founders Day, because they're really just out here doing the most. But, all right, I think that leaves our guy Jer Bear. How are we feeling about him at the end of this episode?
Vamp Jer?
Vamp Jer?
So I am worried about what he's going to do. Little siblings can always find their older siblings' journal/secrets, and I say this as a little sibling. It's what we're made for, truly. So Elena's really got to either A, start telling the truth, which is what I actually want her to do, or B, become a better liar and protector of secrets.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be better at lying. Jeremy's going to definitely cause some strife with this. And I'm intrigued, but I also don't blame him, because he knows things, but he's also not being honest with her about like what he knows about vampires. So, I mean, there's going to be a conversation.
A liar is a liar is a liar.
A liar is a liar is a liar. But And then like just kind of my one final thought is like this episode, because I know we've been like kind of checking in on these episodes. Like this one's all right. Like outside of John's introduction, like it didn't really blow me away, but it still feels like we're very much getting ready for these last episodes. Like I don't know, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't love this episode, but I loved having John, and I think that it felt less filler than the previous episodes.
Yes.
Like we're building to something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, the rising action is happening. We're moving towards that season climax, and I can't wait. Yeah. I'm ready to be there.
Yeah, I'm ready to be there too. I'm very excited to do our last few episodes of season 1. I can't believe it.
So crazy.
We just have a few left.
I know.
Okay, I guess we can. Do we have anything else? Any other things? I think we covered them.
I think we're good.
All right. Well, then we will go into our favorite lines from the episode. Do you want to go first?
It was hard to pick one, and this line both makes me sad just because of everything going on, but it's also a funny line. Just from Stefan to Elena, please dance with your alcoholic vampire boyfriend.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's sad, but it's also like kind of fun. Like, I mean,
in that moment, he's having fun.
Yeah, he's having fun in the moment.
We like seeing Stefan let loose.
Yeah, loosey-goosey Steph. We like him.
Yeah.
And then I had to pick this one where when Damon comes into Elena's house and he goes, "You ask, I come. I'm easy like that."
You are easy like that, Damon.
All right.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Here we go.
I can go.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna fuck Uncle John.
Oh.
Because I'm hoping to get on his good side, and that maybe he'll tell me some of his secrets. And I'm a Gemini, and I always want to know all of the tea. And so he feels like a person to be friends with. I don't want to be on his bad side. So, yeah.
Okay.
I throw him a fuck.
Hell yeah. Throw him a fuck. I love it.
I'm going to marry Stefan because he's really going through it.
Yeah.
And Elena's doing an okay job, but I would do better.
Yeah.
Because I would literally lock him in that dungeon until he's himself again. And I'd keep him away from Damon or watch Damon more closely. So yeah, I'm going to marry him, and I'm going to help him get back on track.
I love that.
And then it's this toss up for me, but I'm going to kill Damon.
Okay.
Because as I've said in our hot takes, like I genuinely don't know what he's thinking throughout most of this episode. I think we see him. He has so little regard for human life, and he's gotten lucky several times now because he's killed someone wearing a magical ring.
Yeah.
And Uncle John doesn't deserve to die in this moment. And then Ric certainly didn't deserve to die in that previous episode. But then you think to last episode when he killed Miss Gibbons. Like, I'm over his like, oh, my move is that I just impulsively kill you.
Yeah.
And I don't care because I'm a vampire and you're a human. And so there's that. But then everything with Stefan, like I can't forgive it and I can't unsee it. And I think Stefan would be in a better place in the current moment he's in where he's really struggling if his brother wasn't pushing him in this way.
I agree. I think those are all very well thought out fuck, marry, kills for this one. All right. I think I'm going to fuck Tyler.
Interesting.
Hear me out. Because if he's fucking me, he's not doing whatever the fuck he's doing with Kelly Donovan. Save us all some trouble.
Maybe you'd have some pillow talk with him afterwards, so he has someone to talk to.
So that pillow talk afterwards, just so that he has someone to talk to and not be like extremely violent. And then I'm going to marry Ric. Short scene, but like the fact that we talked about it earlier in the episode, but I'm marrying Ric because he is like in a way being a very like it's very brief, but he's very like fatherly to Elena in that moment, kind of like expressing his concern about Stefan, even though like he knows Stefan's a nice guy, but like he's still a vampire. I just feel like he's very daddy. But he's also like
Daddy.
But he's also daddy. And I love that. And he's like a stable person. And I love that. Can't say that for a lot of the people that are around this place. And then I am killing Kelly because I'm done with her shit.
Amazing.
I'm sorry, girl. No, we're not. Like, you need to stop fucking around with minors or just like anybody. Like, bye. Goodbye.
Great. I love it.
Maybe I'll bury her and then someone will need to lend her a hand.
Hey, you know what? Damon couldn't successfully bury Vicky. I mean, I guess he did pretty successfully do it, but like probably like it's like a creature pulled her arm out or whatever, and it was happenstance that Caroline found him. But like, what about Uncle Nephew Zach's body? Where is he? Why hasn't anyone found him?
I don't know.
Just real
question.
Yeah.
I mean, I always wonder what they do when they what did Rick do with Miss Gibbons' body?
Yeah, but she lived out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So I guess
Yeah. So I think that's a wrap for today.
We've done it. All right. Well, as a reminder, you can follow us online. It's always fun over there. We do some fun little things on our Instagram. And we also have threads, and those handles are both Hello Sister Podcast. And if you would like to drop us a line, an email, thoughts, questions, concerns, anything you've got, just that you really want to tell us, you can do that at hellosisterpodcast1864@gmail.com.
I want to thank you, Brenna, for never letting my bloodlust get the best of me. And as always, a huge thank you to our husbands, Alex and Dwight, for all of their help behind the scenes.
Thank you. We love you guys. And thank you, Christina, for making sure I don't kill off any shifty uncles with magical rings that bring them back to life. And then, of course, thank you for listening, watching, all of the above to Hello Sister. Bye.
Bye.
Hello Sister is written, directed, and hosted by Christina Rosso-Schneider and Brenna Dinon. Graphic designs are by Alex Schneider. Music is written and produced by Dwight Evan Young. Sound design and video are recorded and produced by Dwight Evan Young and Brenna Dinon. Hello Sister Podcast is a Bad Day Media production. All right. Are you ready to boogie oogie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here we go.